It seems like Pokemon news is right around the corner as Pokemon has tweeted some teaser images related to what we think is a brand new Pokemon. Let's take a look. All right, so Pokemon this morning tweeted, "Hey trainers, we managed to obtain these photos of some strange markings taken by a photographer from Paldea. They seem to be getting a lot of attention from the region's citizens. Any guesses what they could mean?" And it's 4 different screenshots of kind of these like bullseye type spray painted patterns of various colors, right? We've got stripes, which almost kind of remind me of like an Alolan Muck. You've got these different target type paintings and so on and so forth. And obviously this just happened and people are speculating what this could possibly mean. And I think we actually know exactly what it means. Now, if you remember in past reveal cycles, Pokemon has done some creative marketing. They had the glitched out website for Sirfetch'd. Most memorably, they had the Gleamwood Tangle kind of live stream 24-hour event where the bushes shook and ultimately the Ponyta was revealed. So this seems to be kind of their step in that direction of trying to get a little bit of more creative marketing going on. And we believe through the leaks that we've gotten that we may know exactly what this is. Atiri tweets the forest of Oma in Basque country, and it shows these kind of markings on the trees, and it seems very reminiscent of what Pokemon is teasing. So it seems like whatever Pokemon is doing these markings is taking inspiration from this location in Basque County, or country rather. I want to remind you that there was a character shown in one of the more recent trailers wearing a spray paint jumpsuit with a gas mask on, with paint on his hands. This trainer reminds us very much so immediately of Smeargle, obviously the painting Pokemon, but it seems as though there is going to be a spray painting Pokemon. And again, I think we know exactly what it is. I took to Reddit to get some ideas, and we see Jack posting the spray lemur Pokemon. And Pango says, I didn't even think that was that, but it's probably correct, and it might have something to do with the evil team. But ultimately, we've concluded that based on what the Riddler has posted, it is indeed the II Pokemon that we're looking at. And the Riddler actually just straight up posts II and then says TNP. I don't know what that part means, but the overall thought is we knew for weeks now that there was going to be this II Pokemon, and the Riddler had kind of teased that it had something to do with spray, but we didn't really know what that meant in the context, and now it seems like we do, right? It's going to be this spray paint II type Pokemon that seems to be able to mark its territory or mark these strange markings throughout the region, or at least in this particular area. And I have a feeling we're gonna get a reveal this week, right? They're teasing this on Monday. I think by the end of the week, this new Pokemon, this new II Pokemon is probably going to be revealed, which is very exciting. I mean, this is really cool stuff. It seems as though we might actually get a spray lemur, an II, something like that, right? Like that's kind of the gist. So could be one of those things tied together, and it seems as though that is going to be a new Pokemon reveal this week. So again, make sure you guys stay tuned. Have those subscriptions on so you don't miss out on the updates. But we got some leaks to cover as well. Before I dive into the leaks, I want to let you guys know we revealed a ton of new Illustrals over the last week. You can check them out here on the screen. And this week we're actually launching pre-orders for the prototype starter decks, an opportunity to play the game before it officially releases. I'll have the how to play guide out later this week as well on the Illustrals channel, and I'm probably mention it here as well. So head over to illustrals.com for all the social pages and join our Discord at discord.gg/illustrals so you can get in on the hype before it even comes out on Kickstarter. It's gonna be great. Thank you guys so much. All right, so we got some more information regarding Paradox forms, which is what we're gonna kind of talk about. We've got a post from Pearl Enthusiast, which is reporting on what Kaka has said, indicating that the Gallade Paradox form, which we believe to be kind of a Galivore kind of thing, a Gallade and a Gardevoir, is apparently fairy and fighting type, which, if I'm not mistaken, is a type we have not seen before. Don't quote me. I don't want the Drampa people coming out of the woodworks again. I think it's the first time fairy fighting has existed, which is a very good typing. I mean, absurdly offensive, because aside from poison types, you're hitting those steel types, which often are very good against fairy. Fighting is a super good offensive type. Fairy's a really good offensive type. I think in general, this is just a really good combination. So if that is indeed what Paradox Galivore is going to be, could be very, very strong. We also have a riddle from Riddler Coup indicating Lilligant and Gardevoir, and the thought is that the Lilligant is the Hisuian form, is what the picture should have been, and ultimately that's hinting towards Fairy from Gardevoir and fighting from the Lilligant, Hisuian Lilligant, and they both share genders, they're both female, so we think that based on these riddles, it's going to be the more feminine version of Gardevoir Gallade, but it's going to be Fairy and fighting. That's the overall thought right now in terms of the community. A couple other bits of information coming from the leakers themselves saying Como-O is not in the game and Metagross is not in the game, and those were, we knew that 2 pseudos were not going to make it, right? And I think a lot of people thought Como-O was probably going to be one of them. What was the other one going to be? And it seems as though it is Metagross. So Metagross, in my opinion, one of the coolest Pseudolegendaries, one of the coolest Pokemon in general, Would have loved to see it in the region, but that's probably a DLC edition. So no Metagross, no Como. Again, this information is always subject to change. It could have been mistranslated, but I would say that that's probably the case because we've actually seen a few times now that 2 Pseudolegendaries were indeed missing from the Paldea region. From there, we also get information that Cersket is apparently in the game, which I'm a big fan of. Man, I love me some Cersket. I love me some Masquerain. Really cool Pokemon with Intimidate. Obviously not super good. Maybe what they'll do is like they did with X and Y, they'll come in and they'll buff some Pokemon for Paldea. That would be really nice to see. Going into X and Y, a handful of Pokemon were buffed, actually, believe it or not. Arbok was one of them. I want to say like Vileplume was another one. There was a handful of Pokemon that got small changes, you know, 10 base points here to speed, 10 base points here to special attack, whatever it is. Mantine was another one, if I'm not mistaken. So you can buff Pokemon in multiple ways, abilities, moves, things like that. But even just tweaking their base stats to make certain things more viable, I'm a big fan of that. And then the last thing here is the Riddler has come out and said how many heads do they have and post a picture of Vullaby and Mandibuzz. And I believe this is a hint towards the Paradox Hydreigon or Paradox Xylus. We're not sure which one. But I think this is the hint towards that because we were speculating on what typing it was going to be. And now we have reason to believe that it's going to be dark and flying as opposed to dragon and something else, right? We know that the Paradox forms are dual type. They sometimes change types. There's a little bit of confusion about all that. But it seems like the Riddler might be hinting at the new Hydreigon or Xylus, like I said, to be dark and flying instead because it keeps one of its typings. But then hinting at maybe 2 heads instead of 3. We'll have to see because to me, when you combine the 3 of these, when you take Vullaby and Mandibuzz and then Vullaby's skull, which is like a head in itself, I think that means there's going to be 3 heads, but I don't know for sure. I feel like, I don't know. To me, it's 3 heads. To me, I count 3, but you guys let me know in the comment section below if you think that that's what this is. So like I said, I think we're gonna get some news later this week and maybe some teasers every day. Maybe later today, maybe tomorrow, maybe they'll reveal it in the next couple days. But it seems as though we're really starting to get into the marketing cycle now that the world is over. Right away, they're dropping information, which is hype. I'm excited to see this potential spray paint, lemur, or II type Pokemon. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And of course, we got a little update on the Paradox forms and everything in between there from the Riddler and Kaka. We're gonna be staying tuned on that. If anything new comes out, I'll get you guys covered. Keep an eye on Illustrals. I know you guys have been enjoying the reveals, so thank you to everybody there. And we're gonna have that how to play guide and pre-order later this week. So stay tuned. It's gonna be 72 hours to pre-order those decks, and then you won't be able to get the cards until any other cards after that, outside of that, until Kickstarter. So this is an opportunity to play the game early, which I think is gonna be really cool and provide feedback because I'm definitely listening. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one with hopefully an update with a brand new Pokemon. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.